All right, my friends, let's hit these sub interfaces. We've got two we're going to configure on router 1. I've done a little bit of work on there, a very little work, and you'll see that in just a moment. Routers 2 and 3 are already configured with their IP addresses, and since they're using physical interfaces, they have frame map statements, so nothing different there. Also, EIGRP is ready to go on routers 2 and 3, but we got to get our hub router going there as well before we get anything really going on. So let's do this and see if we can get around Split Horizon with some sub interfaces and get in some practice with a new command as well. The only thing I've done here on serial 0, the physical interface itself, is enable frame relay and disabled frame relay inverse ARP. Both of these settings will now be inherited by the sub interfaces. If you wanted to turn frame relay inverse ARP back on for a sub interface, you could do that and just put, frame inverse ARP underneath the sub interface. But again, when you do this at the interface level, the settings will be inherited by the sub interfaces. We're not going to have an IP address on the physical interface. We're going to have that on the sub interfaces. And let's go ahead and jump into that now. Let's see if it's going to let me. Yep. Don't worry about this because some iOSs I've seen over the years let you do this. We've got interface serial 0, etc., in-cap frame, no frame inverse. And then we've got interface serial 0.12, unrecognized command. What you have to do in that situation is just back up one level. It's happened to me and it'll happen to you one day too. But here we've got the sub interface, the first one we're going to configure, and this is for the link to router 2. And you have to define these as either multi-point or point-to-point. You have to define it. You'll notice there's no CR there. If you ever do see a CR here, it means that someone used that sub-interface previously and then deleted it. That's more of a lab thing. But the only way to really get rid of sub-interfaces is to delete them and then reload the router itself. Otherwise, they're still kind of hanging around. So let's see, we've got interface serial 0.12. We're going to configure this as a point-to-point. Could have just typed point, but that would have been okay. And notice now it goes into sub-interface config mode. Now we're going to assign an IP address. And now we're going to put our mapping in. But not that way. You can't use the frame map statement on a point-to-point sub-interface. You can use it on a multi-point sub-interface, no problem at all. But you've got to use the frame relay interface delc command on point-to-point sub-interfaces in frame relay. And it's simply followed by the delc you wanted to use, which is 122. Now let's see if we can start 0.13 from here. We can't. So we're going to go ahead and start the other one. Go back to config mode, and it's point-to-point. And this one is IP 172. Let's put address there. I probably like that. 172.12.123.5. Frame interface delc 123. That's the one we're using to reach router 3. And we're really done, we hope. So now what do we need to do? We need to open the interface. And let's see what happens from there. Should get all kinds of messages. Well, we're up physically, always a good start. Let's hang around and see what else happens with frame. Line protocol just went up. And both of our delcs, or both of our mappings, are active. So that is a good sign as well. Now let's go ahead and join this into the EIGRP config. And this may take a few seconds for our adjacencies to come up. Not necessarily the quickest process. If it's going to take more than half a minute, I'll just pause the video. So I'm very impatient. So actually, I'll do that right now. I'll just pause and we'll see how long it takes for it to come up. Okay, it didn't take that much longer. It always happens when you hit the pause button. About 2 seconds later, the adjacencies come back up or come up. But you can see here that our neighbor, our adjacency to router 2 came up and then to router 3. And then I just went straight down to router 3. and we were good to go because there is the loopback for 2220. So it did help us get around the rule of split horizon. Router 2 was able, because split horizon sees those subinterfaces as totally separate interfaces, which actually they are. So there was no problem for router 1, and actually, let's call that back up just 1 second here, go back up to router 1. Spelling EIGRP about right is always the way to go. You can see here it was received on serial 012, where before it was on serial 0. So there's no problem with router 1 advertising that down to router 3 now, because the advertisement is going out serial 0.13. So that's a good review of subinterfaces. We used them briefly in the router on a stick section, which you may not have seen yet. So that may be your introduction to them. Again, you just simply have to define them as point-to-point or multi-point. That's the big deal when you're using them with frame relay. Now, I already had all this on there for you. Let me go down to 32. It's a little something in my way here, so hold on. Okay, actually that works for me. We're going to come back and talk about the multi-point subinterface for just a minute, and then we're going to go on and wrap up the frame relay section with a little bit of talk of some, not DELCs, but some FECNs and some beckons and some extra acronyms thrown at absolutely no charge. I'll see you there.